Today I'm going to talk about Mount St. Helens. It was a volcano that actually erupted back in 1980. And I created some pottery from volcanic ash from this eruption. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. On May 18th, 1980, Mount St. Helens, which was an active volcano, erupted, killing 57 people and dramatically altering the landscape forever, leaving a crater 1 mile wide and 2 miles long, and blasting off 1 cubic mile of rock removed from this huge eruption that was heard over 200 miles away. I until this point I had no idea there was even any active volcanoes in North America, but apparently there are 169 active volcanoes in the United States. Most of them are in Alaska, and there's 5 active volcanoes in British Columbia, which is my neighboring province. And yeah, that actually really shocked me. So when Mount St. Helens happened, even though I live 1,572 kilometers away, the skies were gray for at least 3 days, and there was actually volcanic ash found even here in Edmonton, Alberta, 1,500 kilometers away. When I use the term active volcanoes, that doesn't mean these volcanoes are about to erupt. So they're just there under the ground kind of thing. So the last actual eruption here in Canada was in the year 1800 in British Columbia. So that was a long time ago. So one of my friends from the miniature club, Sunny, she gave me some ash, and so I decided it was her idea to play with this ash and see if I couldn't create something. So here's some pieces that I did the other day while at Pottery. Some of it is using chocolate clay, which is kind of neat. So I've got bentonite, Fritz 3195, and Fritz 3134. And then this here is Mount St. Helens ash from 75 miles east of Mount St. Helens. And I'm going to mix that with some Fritz, which is just actually kind of ground up glass. And I'm going to use equal amounts of Fritz to the Mount St. Helens ash. So I've got here about a half a teaspoon. There's nothing really scientific about this. So I've got about a half a teaspoon of Mount St. Helens ash, and I'm feeling it. And it does kind of feel like glass. It's not really like, I know it looks just like sand, but it actually has more glass content than sand. So I've got about an eighth of a teaspoon of that kind of Fritz, and then the second kind of Fritz, which is a little bit heavier, I'm going to also use about a half a teaspoon of that. So that means I've got one entire teaspoon altogether. So an eighth of each of the Fritz and a half a teaspoon of the volcanic ash. And then I've got this bentonite, which is ball clay, and I'm trying to add in about 5% ball clay. So that's just to kind of bring it together. So you can see here it's just a really minimal amount. And so then I'm just going to take and put a teaspoon of water in it and just mix it together, and that's how I'm creating the glaze. So you can see here that it's kind of gritty, which is what I expected. Like, this will not melt down because it's all like kind of like glass particles, which I'm confident will melt inside the kiln. So I'm just kind of giving it a good stir because I want to make sure that is kind of even. So, and the frit itself will just, it's kind of like clear glass. So it'll just kind of give something for the volcanic ash to adhere to. So then, because it's not going to be that visible on these chocolate colored brown clay, I'm going to be doing it on the white clay, which is a 370. So you can see here, as I paint it on, it's quite clear that there's quite a lot of ash in it, because the ash is the darker color. So, and I'm just painting it on as evenly as possible. And I can only do one coat. When I went in to do a second coat with this, it just wipes off the original coat. So I'm fine with it only being one coat. So I'm just kind of dabbing it on as thick as I possibly can. And then I'm going to let it dry before I put it on the cookie to put it into the kiln. So you can see here I've got a total of 5 pieces that have volcanic ash on them. I did do one in the chocolate, and the rest of them I did in the light colored clay. So yeah, I'm quite pleased. And then here's the rest of the chocolate clay that I just glazed. So yeah. So what I was anticipating is, this is some volcanic ash pottery by Eric Ordway. And I was kind of anticipating seeing a blue-green color once this was fired. That was what my intention was. However, the kiln gods did not have that in mind for me. So instead, this is what the volcanic ash pottery looks like. It's not that blue-green color, but it is quite pretty. I suspect because it was from 75 miles away from the volcanic site, that and the ash was taken from the side of the road, that a fair amount of dirt, which contains some kind of iron oxide, was also in the dirt, and that's why I got this color. But I mean, it definitely had glass content, otherwise you wouldn't be able to see those colors. So these are the other items that I made with the chocolate clay, and I'll just kind of give you a quick peek at them. So see, Halloween is coming, so I made a few little pumpkins, and these are some of the items that I made out of that dark colored clay. And that's the very first time I've ever worked in that dark colored clay, and it was actually quite fun. And I'm quite pleased with the way my little pumpkins turned out. I think they turned out pretty cute. I've never actually made pumpkins before, so I thought that would kind of be something different. The little one with the lid there, that's probably my favorite. Oh, and I also made a little clock out of the dark colored clay. So you can see here, see the lid comes off, and you can see how dark it is on the inside. So it's really quite nice. And yeah, I think that'll be a nice addition to all the pottery stuff that I keep on making and making and making. It's so much fun to do. So yeah, and there's my journey with volcanic ash. Very different. So thank you, Sunny, and I shall be giving you all these little pieces of pottery. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. It's free to do so. Hit that notification bell and leave some comments below. I had a lot of fun working on this little project. I found it very interesting, Sunny. Great suggestion. Well, once again, everyone, have the best day ever. That was so much fun making those little pieces and not knowing what they were going to turn out like.